been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
With Andy Brassel. Andy, good to see you.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thanks. Phil Neville could be in the frame for the Valencia job.
Well, he's in temporary charge, along with Votto, who is very well known to Valencia fans. He was a legendary player there, stepped in as caretaker before, after Ronald Koeman was sacked, and that was a disastrous spell for Koeman. Makes it even more incredible that he's reinvented himself at Southampton, and he led them to the Copa del Rey. Back then in 2007 as well. So Phil Neville's got a bit of experienced help. He was brought in with the full knowledge of the people above Nuno beforehand. They like him. Obviously, there's the Peter Lim connection from Salford City. But I think the expectation at the moment is that it's temporary. The question is, I think, who will take the job. Of course, Valencia is a huge club with ambitions to get in the Champions League, and they're not a million miles away from that. But there's been a growing sense in recent weeks, and it was a misgiving that I had initially. Where are they really going? Because, of course, since Peter Lim took over, it meant they've got no money worries anymore. But he is someone who has got a background in individual player investment. And that's what he did to beef up the ranks at Valencia with the help of his good friend Jorge Mendes when he came in. And, there's been a growing sense that Mendes players are getting pushed towards the first team. Of course, Nuno, who's just resigned as coach, was the ultimate manifestation of that. He was Jorge Mendes' good friend, first ever client, got the job off the back of not a lot of managerial experience, and after having a good start to last season was given an extended contract rather early. So I think there's a lot of concern about who's really pulling the strings. Well, we know.
So it wouldn't
pulling the
necessarily
strings
be
at
the
Valencia.
right job for him, because he could be put in a bit of a difficult situation.
Well, given that he's got no first team coaching experience, first team head coaching experience, it's a huge ask for him to go and do something. And Valencia are a mess at the moment. There's no getting away from that. They lost 1-0 at Sevilla last night. Nuno actually communicated his decision to leave before that, but I mean they were terrible.
Did he say why he's resigning? Did he, or just that I'm going?
He's just said that he just doesn't think that he can take the team any further. They're not really listening to him, all that sort of stuff. The sense in Valencia is that he jumped before he was pushed, with Peter Lim telling him you have to go, and he was brought in by Lim and Mendes in the first place in a very peculiar situation. So that was always going to be the way. He wasn't going to force them to cough up.
Oh, it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
Wow, have we been blindsided by this news that's broken in the last 5 minutes? Gary Neville has been named the head coach of Valencia. His brother Phil was the number 2. It is a club that is owned by Peter Lim, who also has a stake in Salford City, which Neville is involved with. Let's speak to our Spanish football correspondent, Graham Hunter, who's on the line to react to this news. This is huge news, Graham. How has it come about?
The obvious thing is that Peter Lim, who is the majority shareholder, he's often called the owner, and nominally the financial arrangements of Valencia are so complicated that you may as well call him the owner. He definitely decides everything from top to bottom in the club, has been enamoured with Manchester United, the class of 92, and the dominant figures in that, particularly Gary Neville and Ryan Giggs, for a long, long time. It's the reason why Phil Neville was able to make such a significant leap in his career by moving to Valencia as assistant coach when he didn't speak Spanish. He's learned it. He's worked extraordinarily hard at it. Any footballer or coach who goes abroad could do very well taking a page out of Phil Neville's book. In terms of this jump now, what was absolutely crystal clear was that Valencia is a hugely demanding club. The fans are restless. They give too fine a margin for error. They expect success all the time, and Nuno Espirito Santo not only failed to give that, he pushed out 2 very popular figures in the summer, the president and the director of football. And one of Peter Lim's lieutenants, May Hoon, who said after Nuno left at the weekend, after the defeat at Sevilla, said the next coach will not be Jorge Mendes appointment. Jorge Mendes, the agent who brokered the move of Peter Lim into La Liga football, and people in Valencia, rightly or wrongly, felt that Jorge Mendes, the world's most dominant agent, was setting the tone about who was bought, who was sold, and that he was a de facto football director without taking responsibility, without having been elected. Therefore, what Peter Lim and Mayhoon have done is gone for their choice. Will it be the choice that the fans expected, that the local media expected? No. Will Gary Neville be given credit for what he's achieved in football as a player, as assistant to Roy Hodgson, at Sky, let me emphasise? Yes.
Well, how well known is he there, Graham? I mean, because
Valencia's media and fans will know him intimately, without any question. It's a football voracious city. There will be some research needed to be done about what his role has been with Roy Hodgson. I'm not claiming they follow every England game in the coaching sessions. I take that point. But in terms of, is he known beyond what he achieved as a footballer? Yes, he absolutely certainly is. And let me tell you something absolutely sincerely, is that his brother has done brilliant advance work for the Neville family at Valencia, because he is liked and respected by everybody, from players, through fans, through members, through media. And therefore, does any of that say that it's an automatically the correct appointment? Does any of that overcome the fact that Gary doesn't speak Spanish? No. There are barriers, but I can say, as somebody who has been riveted by Gary's football work, his analysis, his dynamism, what he's like as a person, what effect he'll have as a man manager, his vision of football, his ability to communicate things, I think it's a fantastic appointment for all of us who are watching Valencia, because it will give us intelligence, it will give us fun, it will give us energy. It's two British brothers in charge of a La Liga club. It's two British brothers in charge of a foreign club for the first time in football history.
Let me read you the statement from Valencia that has just dropped for us here. It says, Valencia have appointed Gary Neville as the head coach until the end of the season. He'll officially take charge of the first team on Sunday, December the 6th, ahead of their UEFA Champions League match against Lyon on Wednesday against the Mestalla. So he's not going to be in charge for the game against Barcelona at the weekend. Right. The president, Lahoon Chan, says, we're delighted to have secured Gary so quickly. He combines top-level coaching experience through his role as a senior coach with the England national team and a world-class playing career with England and Manchester United. Throughout his career, Gary has always shown great leadership, both on and off the pitch. He is hugely respected in English football, and it is his personal qualities which persuaded us that he was the right choice to lead Valencia until the end of the season. Gary Neville has been quoted as well, I'm absolutely thrilled to be given this opportunity with Valencia. Valencia are a huge football club of immense standing, and I know from my time as a player the passion and dedication of the Valencia fans. I am really looking forward to working with the club's talented group of players, and I'm excited about the challenge. A press conference is going to be held a little bit later on Thursday afternoon, 4 o'clock. Lahoon Chan and Gary Neville will be there, and we understand that the England and the FA will make a statement later today about his involvement with the England team. Graham, hold on for 2 seconds. Diddy, what was your immediate reaction when we broke that news to you just before 12?
Very surprised. I'm not sure whether it's the right move to do. He's in a very good position. He's doing his Monday Night Football, which he does really well. He's assistant manager to Roy Hodgson. Going to a foreign country is your first job. I know his brother is there, and he would have done some groundwork, some homework. He's been there for a few months. I think it's a huge task to go abroad, not speaking the language, not knowing the league. I think it's a huge task. I don't really understand why he did it, because he would have got a good job or a big job in England in 6 or 12 months' time. I think he's taking a big chance here.
Has he done it because it's away from the limelight of the Premier League and he's allowed to get on with his work maybe a little bit better in Spain? Will he be able to get on with his work a little bit better in Spain than he could do in the Premier League with all of the press hounding him, Graham?
No.
Good point.
Although I have aspirations that this will be a success, what Didier said there is absolutely spot on. The language, I didn't play professional football, he did, but I moved as a journalist to Spain without really dominating the language, and it's an immense barrier until you do so. Secondly, there is, without any question, Valencia are an open, intelligent, forward-thinking club, and they will be very open to the hordes of world media who come across. Now, Gary can set whether training is open or not, but at the moment, training at Valencia is often open. Now, he can change that. and protect himself if he wants to.
But
if you pick any Premier League club who appointed him, the doors are closed. No media, no fans. That's not the case at Valencia. Secondly, this is not a British story, nor a Spanish story. This is a world story. Therefore, the focus, the microscope on him will be huge. One of the things that I think we all know, all three of us speaking about this at the moment, is that won't faze Gary. The amount of pressure, the amount of attention, that won't throw him. The tests are different. The tests are how to get across what is his notable ability at football to a group of players who are talented but very young. They often field the youngest average age 11 in La Liga. They are a side where they know that the Mestalla will get on their back at the first mistake. So there's a confidence issue that goes across any football, whether it's the Bundesliga, Premier League or La Liga. And he needs to change the dynamic. He needs to understand the players very quickly. I think he's done a lot of work in understanding who the players are. The class of 92 have often been with Peter Lim. They've often been with George Mendes. They've often gone to Valencia to watch it. Gary is very football bright, but also he researches. Therefore, some of the things you would say if a British coach was taking over normally, Gary Neville has already prepared for, coped with. But the challenge is enormous, and I think that in terms of managing expectations, in terms of communicating with the local media and handling the enormous world interest that there'll be in this story, I think that will help him, give him the type of space, the type of cocoon to do his job that both you and Didi were talking about there.
Yeah, Graham, Didi here. I saw them play, and I thought there was a confidence issue, and I wasn't sure whether they were on terms with the manager, because I saw them at Zenit, where they should have got something out of the game. They didn't.
Yes.
I don't think they've got too many English-speaking players. What will the English of these players in the squad be like now?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's how's your luck, as they say in the old sitcoms. Mustafi, who speaks English, will be there, but is injured. Alvaro Negredo, who speaks a modicum of English, having been at Manchester for a short period of time, is there, but is injured. Goalkeeper is Matty Ryan, who's Australian. We call it acceptable English, strange accent. Smarted around the squad, there are one or two who have got some English. The club is an international club, but there are some clubs in Spain, Didi, where English would not be lingua franca in any way in terms of the mentality, in terms of the board. There's one board member who speaks very good English. The owners speak very good English. It's a jigsaw puzzle of positives and negatives. It could have been far worse in terms of the communication issue.
Graham, we've got to interrupt you because we are running very late now, but thank you very much for coming on and putting that spin on it for us and giving us the inside track on what's happening at Valencia. I'll just say, because of the research he does, because of the work he does, you would have thought if this was in the offing, there would have already been some groundwork laid by Gary Neville. And it looks like this is not something that's come out of the blue, really, with the connection.
Oh, it's been a long time coming, but I know change gonna come.